without further ado, we have our own Thomas Purcell and Cki Vang to present the magical mystery tour of hard surface modeling. Let's again welcome them with a thorough, warm welcome, please.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good to see you. Before, I would like to say thank you to Pixologic team for this invitation. It's a great honor and big opportunity to be part of this event. I feel very lucky. Thank you so much. To introduce myself, my name is Cki. I'm from France. I've been working as freelancer for around 4 years. I had the opportunity to work with great companies like NVIDIA, BioWare, Activision, Blur Studio, Symbio Robotics, Tesla, and others. Before that, for several years, I worked as lead artist, usually 3D generalist. Generalist because at the beginning, to have more chances to get a job, I tried to be versatile. And also because I always always wanted to know how 3D works exactly. Sorry. I came from 3ds Max, basically, but now my main tools are ZBrush and Keyshot now. I totally switch because for me ZBrush is more interesting for the creativity, and that's why I think that for me it's a super cool software to develop your style. So that's all for me. And I'm going to show you some of designs I did with ZBrush. So basically, I liked when I began. I like to block out and find my silhouette as much as possible. It's super important. My inspirations for me are insects, new technology, and
Say it in French.
a lot of steps. So,
and when you did this model, it was quite some time ago. Yeah, 3 years ago now.
yes.
And it was what, many Dynamesh?
Yes. At the beginning, I used Dynamesh because it's a super useful tool to find your silhouette and shapes, and it's like comment ça, c'est fundamental, non, it's a basic tool, super. Yes, for the foundation. The renders, all the renders was done with Keyshot. So preview. For this one, I think it changed a bit my workflow. I like to push my limits to develop workflows through ZBrush, because ZBrush, for me, there are a lot of tools for hard surface, but I don't know if you use if you like to use tools like panel loops or extract tools and
Can I say something?
Sure.
Yeah, just for your information, she is one of our beta testers, of course, for ZBrush. And we receive quite a lot of emails from him and videos about workflow, about it could be great to do something like that, explaining things. And what you just mentioned about panel loops and things like that is really trying to mix a lot of features of ZBrush from new ones and old ones. And yes, about this workflow is always asking about how he could improve his workflow for how we can push the limits, which is very interesting for us, of course, and I think interesting for him.
Yes, because
the next step.
With the traditional brushes, I think it's not the good approach to get at surface precision. So that's why I try to develop new techniques. This one's it's all design I did in 2013. So this is usually I used to use only 3 brushes: clip curves, planar brush, flatten surfaces, and the standard brush with few alphas I add. Different views. This is globally the process in 4 stages. But it's my all workflow. So
And you start by blocking out the shapes, then again Dynamesh, then clip curves.
yes, because it's fast for to looking for your silhouette before to polish and put all details. T-shirt render. And for this one, I used extract tool. Yes, extract tool. I like to work with different layers with ZBrush. I think it's important.
All of these are your personal works, correct? All of these are your personal works?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's only my personal works,
Yeah.
not
For experimentation?
Yes, it's especially for my experimentation. Yes, to experiment a new approach of hard surface, because I see a lot of potential, but it seems it's not yet perfect. So
Always new ways.
yes, this one it's completely different. I started from ZBrush for the silhouette and the blockout, but the next step it was with 3ds Max. I think it's the last model I did with 3ds Max. Because for me, it's not easy to find and the tools are for me a bit old now, especially the Boolean tool in 3ds Max. So to make it, it was a nightmare for me. Different approach, just an overpaint from a 3D mesh with ZBrush. And for this one, it's a new workflow, but the process is it's simple. Just block out with data mesh, use the topology brush, and after that I use ZModeler. ZModeler is powerful and you can do modeling. It's perfect for me. And now it's my new workflow, but I think it's not completed. I made this one from a base mesh. It took me around 4 hours. But I'm going to show you the process. Making of.
That's not a French mistake.
So yes, this model I did for ZBrush for R8. Honestly, I made this one on the fly. From scratch. And
During the beta test, he sent us some screenshot about stuff that the leg, and we had to try to guess what he was doing. And it was not very easy at the beginning, but looks nice now.
So, play around there. So, the question. I think that's why I'm here. So, yes.
Take the pen.
Yes, I began this model from a cylinder. I'm going to show you in three stages. So let's start with the body part. As you can see, there are a lot of details, but during the beta test, I wanted to find a way to be as a concept designer, we have to be fast and find a solution to be faster. And for me, it was important to find a way to put details. That's why I try with ZModeler to create small pieces and convert in IMM brush. As I said before, I start from a cylinder. And for this example, I combine a primitive mesh to have this kind of result. And with only 6 subtools, or basically, yes, my my 3D scene in ZBrush is like that, without light boolean and with boolean. But it's very easy to manage your subtools. Don't be afraid. Yes. So as you can see here, I'm looking for a way to have a tool like a slice curve, but for hard surface. I would like something more precise, more accurate. And that's why I try to do few rows. As you can see, I'm not good in 2D, but I think you understand my approach. Yes, and that's why I try to use ZBrush and do modeling from that.
Yeah, experimentation is a big part of your process.
Yes, exactly. So for this instance, I made different IMM. From that, I'm going to show you the freezing subtool. Yes.
And a big part of your process now is through the live boolean of ZBrush.
Yes, exactly, completely. So here, this is the IMM I used. And you can combine with the inflate deformation, and also bevel. Oops. I create some edge loops to have this kind of result. No? Any question?
No, that's good.
Does it make sense? Yeah?
And if you have questions, you know, while he's going, raise your hand, and then you can ask questions too. All right. Oh, ooh, there's a question right here, Chief.
Oh.
Do you have any online tutorials on how you do this?
We're doing online here.
People need to hear what you're saying also. There. Hold on. Here you go.
Never mind.
Forget it now.
I'm sorry. Do you do any online tutorials on some of your techniques here?
Not yet for the moment, for many reasons. Sorry for that, but sooner I think yes. But
Do you speak French? Because you'll do it in French.
yes. So.
I think it would be great to have some tutorials because I don't know how far we will show stuff inside of ZBrush, but since it's mixing a lot of techniques which are, again, old features of ZBrush with new ones. It's not something that you see everywhere. Then yes, it would be very informative to know more about how he's using ZBrush.
So I'm going to show you my IMM custom brushes. For example, I use this one.
If I'm not wrong, you are building a lot of brushes, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have around 400 IMM.
400 IMM?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
So I drag and drop. And split. And use the subtract. You can also dynamic subdivision. Oops. So for me, it's very important because you can tweak and remove as comme on peut.
As we can.
Yeah, as we can. Yes. And for different situation, if you want to remove, change the position, rotate, it's super efficient.
Yeah, since you are generating that as an IMM, you insert your mesh and then you split as a subtool. It gives you the freedom to modify, to change the position, location, or rotation, scale, and
Yeah.
yeah.
So you can also for this situation. I'm going to try with a sphere to show it works with comment on appelle ça déjà surface arrondie smooth. It works. Generally, it works very well. Non, les surfaces courbées.
Rounded surface.
Rounded. Wait, yes. Generally, it works with rounded surface. Curve surfaces. Yeah. Oops.
You are using the projection setting for the IMM
Yes.
brush?
It's important to know.
Yeah, you should show it, yeah.
Je sais plus où est-ce que c'est.
Modifier. Yeah.
Modify?
Yeah,
Okay.
modifier,
Cool.
yeah.
So to make it works with rounded surface, curved surface.
Curved
yes,
surfaces, rounded surfaces, yeah.
you have to put
Yeah, you have a projection strength inside of the modifier setting for the brush. And when you are using an insert brush on a surface, the brush will try to project this brush, this shape from the brush on the underlying surface, which will receive the model, and then trying to adapt as much as possible. Of course, the brush that you will insert need to have enough topology to be shaped based on the underlying surface. But this is just a very good example if you want to adapt to the curvature of your underlying surface.
There is one important thing you have to know. It's to make it work. It's to have a quad mesh for the projection. Super important.
The question online is, are these brushes available anywhere, Chi, for download for people?
For good.
Can anybody download these? Do you have these up anywhere people can download your brushes?
No. So it's for the moment, it's just for my personal utilization. Maybe one day, I don't know. It's a good idea.
And do you create all these brushes inside of ZBrush? Your
Yes,
IMF
only
brushes?
with ZBrush. Yeah.
The ZModeler.
With ZModeler.
You use ZModeler to create them.
Yeah. So, I think that's all with this tool. Well, yeah. So, for this part, it was totally different. As you can see, it's more organic. Yeah.
I think in your background you started with characters, correct?
I started
When
from-
you started as a 3D artist, it was more to create characters, not art surfaces, correct?
Yes, but
I mean, you have a background of organic
Yes.
artist. Yeah.
yeah. So, the first step, I began with this sphere, then this sketch. I convert it in like Polymesh 3D.
It's great to see some of this sketch because it's combined with this sphere. It's very good to define some shapes before switching to something else. And how many of you are using this sketch? You see, very few, and a lot of people don't really know this feature. You need to really look at that. It's very powerful.
So for different part, I separate in others. I export in other subtool. I like to use zero measure as well. It's super efficient, and I like to combine panel loops to make a shell. For this part, yes, good question.
That's the greatest brush ever. Sphere, this.
But
There's a question on the floor real quick.
if, yes,
Clearly, you've got a lot of IMM parts on a base mesh. You're using line boolean. How often do you convert that line boolean object to a final mesh? Do you do that halfway through process and continue, or do you leave it live for the entire sculpt?
A lot of translation happening up
Est-ce
front.
que tu convertis régulièrement ton live boolean sur un modèle, je dirais synonyme, que tu as bossé dessus, ou tu essaies de garder le live boolean le plus possible?
oh, good question. Generally, I prefer to keep all my IMM because in case of yes, subtools, yes, subtools. In case of your clients want to remove or to want to tweak, I prefer to keep all subtools. I think everybody knows in ZBrush, we have the slice curve brush. And when you want to separate, you have this kind of result with the closed holes. And for me, it's not very good because for hard surface, it's very important to have a good slice from the view. And that's why I try to find a way to fix this thing. I'm going to show you if you want to see the process. So, up. Like that. Okay. If you want to group split, sorry, I have my personal custom UI. And so basically, this is the result you have in ZBrush. And to fix, I choose the polygroup. I hold Control and slide like that. Go to selection. Change the polygroup.
I think I will learn something.
And finish. I apply a mirror and well.
Okay, easy.
So, thank you. If you want, you can also play with ZBrush.
Xavier, you know what you have to do.
So this is the tricks. And this is how I use how I made this this design. After that, I like to use and play with polygroups because of super efficient.
Do you use your remesher with the keep group function for that?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, of course. So for this case, I try to find a new technique to have another cut tool. So from frame mesh, I use the curve brush.
Curve multitube?
Excuse me.
You're using the curve multitube?
Exactly. To have this kind of result. And after that, I put some of my IMM, but to make it sorry. Ouais, en fait pour que ça marche, to make it work. Yes, to make it working. I did a few tests from sphere. And
Then you build multiple brushes using curves
Yes.
to have different shapes.
yes, I try. I modeled a few profile for the extrusion with the curves. I'm going to show you how I proceed. So, from a cylinder, no. polycylinder. That. So all I want is just up.
And generate a profile right now.
Yes. Try to create a profile. Make polygroup. I like to work with shortcut, super fast and efficient for.
Yeah. Group by normals and
Exactly.
after crease by polygroups.
And after, I remove.
Yeah, the two polygroups are the extremity of the shape, which will become the profile of your curve.
So I only keep the profile like that. Ouais, on tire ça. And with ZModeler, increase profile.
To
That.
keep your profile, yeah. To have the control on the.
Yeah, to have more
the shape,
control.
yeah.
Exactly. Bivol. Symmetry. Oops. Oh, it works like that. Up. No. Oh man. Sorry. So I think it's okay like that. And I'm going to create my curve. You have to be like that in this view to make it possible. And,
when you create an insert mesh, and especially if you're working with a curve, the orientation, I mean, the position of your camera's point of view will define the orientation when your model will be, the way it will be inserted on your mesh. That's why defining this point of view is very important.
exactly. So, from a sphere, imagine.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, but I think most of the, we explained in the Ask ZBrush how to create these curves and these brushes. I think we have quite a lot of videos online on YouTube and on Z Classroom which explain this process about how to create these insert meshes and using insert brushes with curves and all this kind of stuff just to learn the process.
Okay, so from that, I use the frame mesh and comment c'est déjà le curve, in curve mode, exact.
The radius of the brush will define the size of the inserted curve, the shape inside of the curve.
Yes, a weld point like that. So I can as well define the depth with the
Depth.
embed. Oops, up.
Yes, and as soon as you click on a curve, while it's still active, you can update the curve with this new setting by changing the depth, or if you have multiple shapes, you can update the shape in real time like that.
Yeah. So up. And when you are happy, just split the curve.
Yeah, you're in solo mode? No?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
you have this kind of result. You can also play with inflate. If you want. Oops.
Yeah, with few scripts and macros and hotkeys, you can redo very quickly. I mean, as soon as your brush has been created, it's very efficient.
I hope you understand what I'm doing. So split model. Yes.
Yeah, that's why it's very important to create your own custom UI, which will fit your own workflow. Of course, you can download other artists' custom UI to be inspired by how it's built, but you have your own way of working and what she's doing, and you see that with you few keys and hotkeys is defined, and he had some macro as well, and this custom UI, it's very quick to redo all these steps to search for his design.
Yeah, and ça marche pas trop pour l'exemple.
Here's a question from online for you, Chi.
Yeah.
Do you make anything for game-ready meshes, or are you only doing high polygon count, like high polygon rendering, like this? Do you do game-ready meshes?
Tu fais le modèle pour du temps réel ou tu fais que de la haute résolution?
I only do a high-res model.
Only high-res.
Yes.
Answered.
That's it.
15 minutes à peu près.
Ah ouais, putain. So, and after.
There is one question.
There's a question on the floor.
Ouais, je sais. Just raté.
Yeah.
You miss.
You said you set up like a hotkey or a macros, but when you, after you drew that curve, it did the depth and all that stuff, then the next time that you did it.
You mean the process about how to create these hotkeys and macros? Yeah. In fact, in ZBrush, everything that you can click in the UI, you can define a hotkey. You Control and Alt. You press Control and Alt, you press on the button, it will generate the hotkey. You can save it, and after you can just recall your function very quickly like that.
So what I think you're getting at is he can create a hotkey that automatically does the frame mesh, right? And then you can click and it'll just give you the click. Yeah. He has a hotkey for each action. He just hits his hotkeys.
Yeah. Okay.
C'est bon? It's good. So, yes. Something wrong? No.
Sorry, I was looking at some details.
Sorry.
Tomas, he's presenting. Let him present.
I'm sorry. I'm always impressed with his work. Sorry.
Yes, about this part, the Canon, I started from a cylinder and I stretched the model and I added my IMM for slicing. After that, I convert it in boolean. I click on make boolean and to separate in different subtool. put
Then
details.
in this scenario, then you are generating the Boolean just to have different shapes, in fact.
Yes.
Okay, then
For
you
that.
won't be able to go back if your client need to ask for some
Exactly,
changes.
yeah.
Okay.
So I played with array mesh to have repetition. The same case here. And for this part, I began with ZModeler. And for these small details, I used mesh vision. I don't know if you know these features.
Do you know mesh fusion in ZBrush? It has been introduced in ZBrush 4R4, correct? 4R4, yeah? Yeah. I think, yeah. Yeah.
But for
It's been there for about 6 years.
Yeah.
6 years.
Yeah.
6, 7. 6 years.
Like transpose smart masking.
Since we're on the subject, that got introduced when we did Spotlight. So that's ZBrush 4 was when that transpose smart was introduced.
Cool. So basically, we know in ZBrush to have details, we must divide the subtool, right? Isn't it?
Should be right.
And I didn't like this approach, and I tried to find other solution with mesh vision to have this kind of result. And I decided to create my own personal IMM for mesh vision. For this example, I use this one. As you can see, the topology is not dense. Yeah. So for me, it was a revelation. Yeah. C'est ce qu'on dit? Une révélation? A revelation, yeah. It works for hard surface and for curve shapes.
I think Cki will explain how it's working.
So for different situations, you have to know with and without the smooth. It changes a bit the behavior. Yes, it's totally different. So I'm going to show you ZBrush. Super simple. You must the area yes, I define a mask to create polygroup. Then I use brush, mesh fusion brush.
Yeah. Mesh fusion is working with polygroups. Then you need to have a polygroup which will hold, let's say, the mesh fusion.
And if I want to, oops.
Yeah, you're in solo mode.
That, but I think I have to projection, strange, yeah. That, and I have to drag and drop. Oh, sorry. Oh, I don't know why. Yes, okay.
Yeah. I think it has been pretty quick. You should explain the steps you
I'm
did.
going to, yes, I'm going to redo. So just that.
Yeah, first he defined a mask
Yes.
that is converting to a polygroup.
Yeah, well, he's doing something else there.
Yeah.
He's not just hitting Control W. He's hitting edge loop. There's a feature that you can tell a mask to actually also slice around the mask. So
No.
that's what he's doing. He's not just hitting
She's not
Control
aussi,
W. He's created a hotkey for himself for that.
so yes, it's simple. Can show you. Yes, polygroup from mask.
Group mask, clear
Yeah.
mask. Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah, mesh fusion roughly is you insert a mesh through an insert mesh brush on top of a polygroup. This insert mesh needs to have an open edge around the model. And then ZBrush detects when you insert that you are on a polygroup. And when you, first you need to remove the mask of the support mesh. And then when you do like a Dynamesh, click and drag with Control key, it will just connect the boundary of the polygroup to the boundary of the insert mesh. And of course, like Cki was showing before, having the smooth option inside of the geometry subdividing settings will apply a smooth or not between a smooth or not applying a smooth between the boundary of the polygroup and the insert mesh. Correct, Paul?
Oh man.
Yes, if you don't have SMT on, then it won't smooth as
yes,
if you're
the
dividing
smooth.
it. If you have SMT off, then ZBrush won't actually do the smoothing as if you were dividing.
Yes, I
them.
remove
That's the
this.
difference. So then he can keep a very harsh border when he
Yeah.
inserts, as you can see. Now it doesn't smooth along his inserted mesh.
So
And then, in essence, we're replacing the poly group, deleting it, keeping your mesh, and then ZRemesher is closing it all for you automatically. That's what he's doing right now. And that slicing he's doing, that's a different feature. He's not just doing Control W, because he's got a shortcut doing an edge loop. You open up edge loop, Cki, in geometry.
and
In
geometry.
geometry, open up edge loop. Right, see that right there, that top button? Edge loop mask border.
Yep.
Everyone see that? That's what he's doing actually when he does his little shortcut.
Exactly.
Right? That's the first step he's doing right there. Just so everyone knows. He's used to just hitting keys. Oh, I got a question from the floor, Cki.
Yeah, it looks like you're having some trouble with transitions from the insert mesh after you perform an operation. The transition back to the sphere isn't absolutely clean to use some sort of warm target or something like that to get it back to a smooth transition.
Can you repeat the question, Paul, please?
So he was asking that some of the transitions weren't smooth. That's actually the SMT that's doing that. So he turns it off, and it won't have a smooth transition. You have it on, and then it will be smooth. What transition? Are you talking about when he's doing this way, or are you talking about when he just made a Control W? All right, put something there so you can see. He's talking about your transitions from the poly groups into the sphere, smoothing out those transitions. How do you smooth out those transitions? So we just do your steps.
Okay. So next step.
He's talking about the transition between the sphere's poly group and the poly group that you make, that it doesn't look smooth.
Yeah, with the smooth on and off.
So how does he smooth it out?
Quand tu fais la transition en fait, entre deux, du fait que des fois c'est raide ou du fait c'est smooth.
Ouais.
Donc, tu utilises en fait la fonction smooth.
The smooth,
Voilà.
yes, the
Tu
smooth
montres-
option.
montres avec essence.
Yes, sorry. Going to show you in. Yes. With
Paul?
and without the smooth. On that. Okay. Yes. The polygroup. no, sorry, let's here, edge loop mask border. Without the smooth, you have this kind of result. And with yeah, different. It's very different.
Yeah, the topology result is different. Yeah.
You got 5 minutes, by the way.
5 minutes?
Yeah.
5 minutes. Oh. So this is other experimentation. Yeah. I used for mesh fusion last year. The advantage for me was
No, go ahead.
for me was you can keep your model, your low-res model, and play with the dynamic subdivision. You can keep your model super low-res. And go back to the Canon. The shield, yes. So I began with the modeler to have this kind of shape. I put two IMM to slice the model. And to have a bit to smooth the edge border, I zero mesh this part and put few details. At the end, I had 70 subtools and a ton of polygons. And I'm going to show you the model.
But I have a question for you. That's quite a lot of polygons. You are doing high resolution meshes. But what about the retopology?
I don't know. I'm just a concept designer.
And someone else is doing this job?
Yes.
Oh.
So
Thomas,
Good luck.
I thought it's you doing the job. It's you, Thomas.
No.
maybe.
I love knitting polygons, but
But for this presentation, I use a decimation master to make it more, comment on peut dire ça?
to be more easier to manage.
More easier to manage the model.
We have one question, Paul.
No. Coming. All right, we got to wrap it up here, too. A question from the floor.
Yes, would it be possible to click on polyframe and do a VPR?
For sure.
It's a decimated model, then.
Yeah. So, yeah. It's not the final model. I decimated because
Yeah, for the presentation, to be
for
sure
the
it was
presentation.
fine.
Yes.
Nice, nice.
So
No other questions? Last one?
Last
there is
one
one.
here.
So with a file that large, what's the, because I've done
when you're working with that many polygons, how do you handle the work of a file?
Wow.
How do you handle the file? Because it's so big. He's asking, how do you handle working with
final
file that
file?
large?
Tu génères, enfin, tu gères ces fichiers, c'est quand même des gros fichiers. qui sont
Yes,
vraiment lourds.
yes. Comment ça dit that? Well, yes, in the end, yes, it's true. The file is super heavy, but I manage my subtool in different parts. But for this model, it's different because I made it on the fly and I don't know where in.
Yeah, the end goal or what will be the
Yes,
result.
I don't know the result. So I just play with the live boolean and.
Yeah, but since you are using a lot the Z modeler, the live boolean, I mean, during the process, you don't have subtools which are so heavy, except if you generate the live
Yes.
boolean mesh.
All my subtool generally is in low resolution. Yeah.
Yeah, with dynamic subdivision on top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I use a lot the dynamic subdivision.
Yeah, it's not because you see this 188 millions of polygons that's working model may be that size. That's why it's very good to work with the Z modeler and also live boolean as much as possible, because you are just working with, of course, multiple subtools, but not high resolution meshes for each subtools. And one thing, I think you're working mainly with ZTL files, not project files.
Yes, only ZTL.
Yeah, then working with ZTL, then what makes sometimes files big for ZBrush are the project files, because in the project you have the undo history, which is saved, which can go up to 10,000 numbers of undos, which can, of course, take quite some space. Then, yeah, saving ZTL will skip the history, then making files smaller as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Unfortunately, we got to wrap it up with Cki. Everyone give Cki a hand.
Thank you.